So this is a very interesting topic that I've never really mentioned before, and I thought it would be a good video idea because I think there's a lot of misconceptions right now on YouTube, and not right now, but just in general, about sponsorships and YouTubers doing YouTube for money and all these different things that may or may not be true. Now, this video will primarily focus on sponsorships and how YouTubers make their money and them doing YouTube for money. And with that being said, before I start, this video is sponsored. We are sponsored by Ranked Competitive League, and with that being said, let's just get into it. Alright, I know, I started off this video with a sponsorship in a video talking about sponsorships, and that kind of clearly shows my stance on this. The title implies a negative or positive perception on my side about sponsorships, and for me, it's definitely positive. I think that a lot of people have this idea that YouTubers that do sponsorships are sellouts, they don't care about their fans, you know, this and that, and it's definitely more on the negative side. I think that when a lot of people hear the word sponsorships, it carries a negative connotation with it, implying that it's some sort of a negative thing and that sponsorships are bad and YouTubers that do sponsorships are bad YouTubers and whatnot. And to that, I would like to say no, that is completely false. Okay, that is completely 100% false. What I would like to say firsthand is the reason I do sponsorships is solely for money. I do sponsorships for money, and it's because it is a great way for me to support myself, and sponsorships are a really great source of income for a lot of YouTubers, especially when they want to do YouTube full time. Now, I know I just openly said I do sponsorships for money, but I mean, isn't that kind of obvious? Why else would I do a sponsorship? One thing I like to say is I generally like to focus my sponsorships around companies that I trust, are safe to use, and that I have a personal experience with. But even if I don't, I think that if a sponsorship is safe, it is completely okay to do. With that being said, that's why today's sponsor was the Ranked League, because it is actually on Hypixel. It is something that people can use, and it is actually something that will, you know, positively affect my community, and it's something that I would maybe even do for fun. It's like, what better way to get sponsored than by something that you will actually use even off camera or play off camera? Let me get more into this. So I personally don't think there's anything wrong with sponsorships, and the reason I say this is because YouTubers need a way to make money. I think there's this huge misconception, and I've talked about this a couple of times, that like YouTubers aren't allowed to do YouTube for money, and that the entire focus of YouTube for a creator should just be entertaining the viewers constantly and doing everything that the viewers want them to do and nothing else. And to that I say, people need to remember that YouTube is still a job for a lot of people. For example, for me, YouTube is a job. I primarily do it for fun, and as I've said in the past, it is a hobby and a job, not just one or the other. So with that being said, I still need to make money somehow, and I have the privilege of doing that through YouTube, but sponsorships are still incredibly important and an incredible source of revenue for a lot of people that need that extra boost to be able to do content creation full time. One thing I'd like to point out is just because YouTubers do sponsorships doesn't mean that they're a sellout, or they don't care about their fan base, or they don't care about their audience. That just means that they're trying to make money and support themselves, and a lot of times, at least in my case, I normally just take sponsorships knowing that I'll be able to like reinvest a lot of that money into YouTube for thumbnails and other wagers and whatnot. And personally, I think that it is completely okay for YouTubers to just take sponsorships if it's going to help them out. What I will say is that there are some sponsorship companies that aren't necessarily good companies, and YouTubers will sponsor with them solely for money without any intention of caring about how their fan base might be impacted by it. Now, this is where the line kind of changes from just being about money to kind of being morally questionable. Like, I personally don't really want to sponsor with a company that could have a negative effect on my audience, and for that reason, whenever I sponsor with a company that might have any sort of risk, I make sure to talk about that risk in the description and vaguely talk about it in the video as well. But I think if YouTubers are sponsoring with companies that are obviously bad for their audience, that's definitely not okay, and at that point, it's crossing a line between like making money and being a respectful creator. But I think as long as the content creation is respectful, there's nothing wrong with that sponsorship in the first place. Another thing I think is that there's this huge like idea that doing YouTube for money is a bad thing, and this goes past sponsorships and mostly just like doing YouTube in the first place for money. There is nothing wrong with this. This is not like doing YouTube for money is not a problem, and it should never be a problem. Just like any other job, YouTube pays, you know? For example, if you're going to a restaurant and getting fed, you're not gonna get mad at the chef for not feeding you for free. I think people fail to realize that YouTube is still a source of entertainment. If you're looking at this in a more of a business perspective, the customers are the viewers and the product we're selling is entertainment. Just like any movie franchise. For example, Marvel. A lot of people think Marvel is making a lot of TV shows and movies right now and focusing on quantity over quality, and people are confused as to why they're doing this, knowing that the projects may not be as good as they were before. That's not exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying the quality of YouTube deteriorates if people make money, but the point is that all of these business companies have one goal, and that's to make money. Now, contrary, I think I'd like to say that YouTube is actually less like that than other companies. YouTube is more on the side where creators are privileged to be able to entertain people and play video games or do other sorts of enjoyable things and make money from it, and also they're able to do it as a hobby and a job. And for me, that's what this is. This is not just a money grab. I'm not just doing YouTube for money, you know. YouTube has always been a hobby for me more than money, and me talking about this is showing that, you know. I don't think I would talk about this if I was just doing YouTube for money, and I'm not saying that to prove it to anyone. I'm just saying that because it kind of brings a good point, which is there is like literally nothing wrong with doing YouTube for money. Just like any other person in the world, people need to make money to live. I think as long as you're being respectful to your fans, showing appreciation, and not misleading them in any sort of way, I think that it's completely fine if people want to, you know, focus on YouTube as a source of income, and I know a lot of people do that. And as long as they're, once again, as long as they're being respectful about how they're going about YouTube, I think it's completely okay that people are making money from it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, once again, I don't think we should be hating on YouTubers if they're taking sponsorships. A lot of times if YouTubers are taking sponsorships, it's going to be because they need it, you know? It's a great source of income, and at the end of the day, there's just nothing wrong with it, you know? There's really nothing wrong with it. Anyways, let me know your guys' thoughts, because I know some people... Okay, I was really relying on winning that fight there. I know some people have this idea of sponsorships, this negative portrayal of sponsorships, but let's just have an open discussion about this. Let me know how you feel about sponsorships, negative or positively. Any answer is okay. You are completely valid in your own opinion. With that being said, I hope everyone has a great day. Make sure to join the Ranked Competitive League server, and have a great day, everyone. Peace out. Bye.